All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Plum Bums Podcast, the blue-collar tradesman show that focuses on small business and entrepreneurship and also has a huge desire in the heart to get the new generation up into the trades. As always, my trusty sidekick, Max.
Howdy.
My Robin to my Batman. And that's the only superhero combo I know. We are on episode 11. We're cruising right along here. It's actually going... we've had some cool people on the show.
Yeah.
Recently we had tattoo artist, tattoo shop owner, AJ. We had the my marketing buddy, Dan. Who was before that? The farmers. God made a farmer. Our top Plum Bums video views on YouTube. But we're cruising right along
why
here.
You mentioned that.
You know me. I'm a ball buster.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are here today with a buddy of mine who works with our business, working with claims adjusting. Mike Proto from Metro Public Adjustment. He's a claims adjuster. You said you're an independent claims adjuster.
Senior claims representative.
Senior claims rep. All right, so he's here. He's going to talk about some insurance, and this is actually a good follow-up show because you talked to my cleanup guy Otto.
Yes,
from Jigsaw.
Yeah,
he did a show a couple episodes, and we talked a lot about insurance.
Okay,
and he gave some pretty good field stories. So this episode is a good follow-up to him because you guys are kind of in the same. You're more of the administrative part of what he does, right? Would you say?
Well, we're there to represent policyholders, make sure they get treated and paid fairly. So
you're here to protect the homeowner.
Exactly, and they need protection. A lot of it these days.
Listen, me and Max talk about it all the time. That insurance companies, it's a necessity today, but what they don't cover, and you have a disaster, and they'll say, no, you know what? Actually, we can't do that. We can cover this, but you're screwed on this, and it's become an industry that is so overblown, blown out, and you need guys like you who will come in as an independent voice to stick up for the homeowner.
Yeah, I mean, we're there to advocate on your behalf. And listen, the industry as a whole right now is it's not in a great shape.
Your industry, your insurance industry?
The insurance industry. It's tightening up. I think the inflation has really hurt the business, and they're paying out more in claims because the cost of building materials and everything has gone up. Yeah. So you've seen big name carriers like State Farm and Allstate not offering new policies in places like California. If you have a policy there, you still have it. But if you go to buy a new home and you're starting to shop around, they're not offering policies there.
Oh, wow. So they're not even taking new customers in that state.
And those states are out.
Holy cow, because of the cost, it's just too much?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot that gets bandied about with this stuff, but the inflation is a big part of it. And some people aren't aware of reinsurance.
What's reinsurance?
Insurance for the insurance companies.
Oh my God.
So if they're telling them whatever, they have to make changes. I mean, they have to be profitable, right?
Yeah, it's a business.
It's still a business.
In the end, it's a business. Absolutely.
So if their bottom line is getting hurt, they have to make changes.
I mean, I understand it's a business, and I respect that. But me and Max deal with a lot of disaster. I mean, listen, we're plumbers. We deal with floods. We deal with a whole bunch of stuff, fires even, because plumbers will set something on fire in the house from using the not us, but there's other plumbers that have to deal with that. Actually, a couple episodes we talked about one of my first jobs here was a customer in Englewood whose house got set on fire by a plumber. The whole half the house burned down, and then she brought us in, and we've been her plumbers ever since for the last 9 years.
And those end up being water-related losses because a lot of the damage ends up from them putting the fire out.
Yeah.
Well,
the house is just doomed after that.
You mean that the damage comes from not just the fire,
Sure.
but from the water they get.
Yeah, you're going to have the fire and the smoke damage. Don't get me wrong, but when they have to come and put the fire out, that water, all that water they use, that's adding to the damage.
The house is pretty much condemned after you have a fire in it, right?
It's
done. It's done. But
it depends on the extent of it. But yeah, I mean.
So I know there is a certain point where if a fire gets to a certain point, the house is done. There's nothing you can do. Do you know the percentage of a house that would?
I don't. I mean, usually,
What would you guess?
I couldn't tell you. I don't
Okay.
know the answer to it, but I'm sure like the fire department or the town is going to come in and look and say,
They're going to
you
assess.
can't live here. It's not safe to be
Yeah.
here.
So, what's the official definition of claims adjuster?
Well, again, I'm a public adjuster, and like we were talking about even before we started, biggest hurdle for me sometimes is that people don't even know we exist.
Yeah.
That there's somebody out there that can advocate for you. I mean, I look at my job as education and representation.
Okay.
I try to educate people about their policies to make sure that they're protected, that they have good coverages before anything happens. The last thing I ever want to have happen is for me to tell you, you're not covered for this loss.
Right.
And there's nothing that I can do. And then the second part of it is representation, professional representation. When you have a claim, making sure that you're getting treated and paid out fairly on the loss.
Right.
So that's what we're there to do. I'm fully licensed through the State Department of Insurance.
Okay.
So everything we do is under the microscope. I'm bonded. All that stuff is there for your protection as a policyholder when we work for you.
And you're
So should-
insured.
So should somebody come to you for to get an insurance policy, to get the best
No.
insurance policy? No.
No, I don't sell insurance. That's the whole thing. I'm an advocate.
Well,
I
just
don't really
once they
sell
have-
anything.
Okay.
I'm not selling anything except my advocacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to get your services to be like, listen, I trust your judgment on getting the best, flood insurance or getting the best, fire insurance or whatever it is, can somebody come to you with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that I do is proactive in nature, which is to give a policy review for somebody. That way, most people are underinsured and they don't know it. That's the big picture
Otto
off the
said
bat.
the same thing.
Yeah.
He
They
said the same
don't
exact thing,
they
yeah.
don't realize that. Even on your dwelling. This happened a couple of years ago. There were some wildfires in Colorado, and some $1 million homes were lost, and it ended up being a big debacle because people were underinsured on
Yeah.
their dwelling. Forget
Yeah.
about the rest of it. They didn't have enough money to rebuild the home to where it was supposed to be. I mean, that's how bad it can be. And a lot of times the insurance companies are using their own estimating software or whatever they have to determine what you should have. But it's not always right.
Right.
It's scary.
Well, the insurance company is a business. It is a business in the long run. So it's almost like you look at it like a casino. The casino is always going to win. Sometimes you get a nice payout, but the casino is there to win.
Well,
is that a good comparison?
yeah,
or no?
I mean, it's sad to sort of have to look at it in those terms because the insurance companies are supposed to act in good faith.
Yeah.
And every states like New Jersey here, there's tons of laws and regulations that they have to abide by. There may be certain times that they have to determine if if they're going to cover a loss or not.
Yeah.
How much time that they have when there's a settlement to actually cut the check. There's a whole laundry list of things that they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But in terms of the big picture as a policyholder, what I see every day is people getting frustrated, banging their head up against the wall, trying to deal with the insurance company on their own. There's a famous book called Delay, Deny, Defend. I think it was written by somebody in Rutgers. You can find it on Amazon.
Okay.
It goes through all the tactics of what they do to try and not pay out claims properly. This is what people are facing.
And that's what you're for.
Or
that's
now,
what you do.
Yeah.
But the case now is you're saying that they're overpaying claims, or they're paying out claims more than what, the value of the actual damage or the property is?
No, I think the cost of the materials and everything have
Yeah.
gone up because of inflation.
Okay.
So, the
They're just
same,
paying
the
out
same.
more.
Let's say there was the same exact claim from 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago. That claim is more money, to get back to pre-loss condition
Yeah.
for that homeowner.
Are they getting? Are they? Sorry, I just want to ask this question because I had a friend who had this issue with his car. I don't know how much you know about auto, but
Yeah.
he had a Toyota Camry. He got into a fender bender, okay, and the body shop that the insurance company told him to take it to ended up making it a total loss.
Right.
And they just gave him what the car was worth right then and there. But is that on the insurance company to not properly give the right amount of money? Or
Well, I mean, auto is different. I don't
Yeah.
deal with auto. Let me just at least say that much. But I think the industry, what the way things used to be in years past was that company adjuster would show up and be empowered to actually cut a check on the spot. And somewhere along the lines, they lost that authority. And I see examples of even independent adjusters, and I should explain that in a second, what independent adjusters are. But they actually work on behalf of the insurance company. They'll do a scope, they'll do an estimate, they'll submit it to whatever carrier, and it gets pushed up the chain, and a supervisor says, no, denied. Or partially denied.
So they don't even trust their own guys.
It's just not the way things operate now. I think their business model is to try to get out from paying as much as they can.
Yeah.
Whether that means lowballing, partially denying, fully denying. They're gonna challenge people at times to sue.
Understanding that insurance is a business.
Right.
Businesses need to make money.
Sure.
And I will extend a certain amount to this industry that has to make money to pay their employees. But
of course,
on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how corrupt
We know the scale.
is the insurance industry today? On a scale of, I don't know, on a 1 to 10.
I mean, I'm gonna shy away from using the word corrupt.
Okay, that's fair.
But like I
Shiesty.
said, I think a lot of these carriers, their business model is to try to get out from paying. I mean, this is where professional help of a licensed public adjuster is so important, and really from the beginning of a claim, because we're going to document everything in such a way that if it does go to legal, you have that ammunition there.
Homeowners need to jump on someone like you immediately.
It's always better to get us from the beginning. Okay. And there are a number of reasons for that. First and foremost, most people have no idea what the claims process is.
Right.
They have no idea.
They don't even know what phone number to call.
I mean, take your industry. When there's a water-related loss, you have duties after loss in the policy.
That never happens to us, but go ahead.
Okay. So that means that if you have a broken pipe, you need to separate out the damage from the undamaged items.
Right.
You need to get the restoration company in there to do the dry out and clean up to mitigate further damage like mold. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's on you as the policyholder.
Okay.
And often I see people like, the insurance company's not getting back to me. I don't know what to do. Well, it's in your contract. Duties after loss. Yeah. You've got to put the tarp on the roof if something happens. They could use that against you and ultimately deny the claim if you are not...
If you don't do the procedure properly.
Upholding your obligations under the policy.
And that's where you come in and you really step in and take care.
So, they're skilled and trained at tripping you up. I mean, people have to realize the minute you make a call to that claims hotline, they're probably recording you.
Yeah.
And even if you just inquire about coverage that you don't have, they can log it as a claim and it'll go on your record.
So shiesty. Not corrupt, but shiesty. Sketchy.
People have to be careful.
Yeah.
This is what I'm here to do, to try to educate and caution people, and I'm here to protect your interests.
What's the worst job you ever walked in on? Someone says, we need to adjust this claim, and you walk into this house and you're like, holy crap.
That's a good question, actually. I'm not sure if I've had any that were like really, really bad. I get a lot of claims from other states.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had one from Mississippi recently, which the woman had like thousands of gallons of water, a broken pipe situation or a frozen pipe situation in their house.
Well, and
they weren't home, I think, at the time it happened. The entire house is a loss.
Yeah. We had that.
Okay.
That was one of my worst jobs. I talked about it. I won't go into too much detail, but the guy went on vacation for 6 weeks, came back, and boiling hot water was pouring in his living room for 3 to 4 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, people have to be careful about being out of the house because a vacancy provision in the policy could kick in.
Yep.
And if it's triggered, you may not have coverage for certain losses.
That was a huge issue on his job when he went on vacation. And they're like, well, what was your thermostat? Do you have your heating records? Yeah, they went to town because they were basically going to have to build a new house. So they were working every angle to not do that.
Yeah.
And I remember that was probably within a year that I first started in the plumbing
Mm-hmm.
industry, and that was crazy. That was just a crazy disaster.
Yeah.
But so you have foot soldiers in other states, basically. You got guys on the ground.
I'm affiliated with Metro Public Adjustment. They've been at this for 30 years. So, things are evolving in the business to the point where, we can do claims remotely, virtually.
Yeah. Digital.
This is
stuff
the world
like that.
we're living in, and the technology keeps getting better and better. So we're constantly getting better and better.
Here's why digital still kind of makes me irk a little bit, because people will send us videos and pictures, but then the customer knows what, like, even the customer who doesn't know anything about plumbing, for some reason, they know that they should be hiding things in the picture that they send to us for an estimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, I understand it. You're a homeowner. It's tough times. But digital still, there's always going to be a need, in my opinion, to put people on the floor, on the ground, and get in there and take a look in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer boots on the ground.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've been getting better and better at this remote adjusting stuff. And I even heard of, I'm not sure the name of the app, but I heard about an app that actually, it can map out the whole house. I mean, it's just amazing. So these are things that I'm sure we're going to be looking into utilizing more and more. So,
Did you have something to say?
No.
You just over there twiddling thumbs?
Yeah, I'm
yes.
listening.
I've rendered him speechless.
No, this is interesting. I'm learning a lot, because this is a subject that I know
about
nothing
time.
about. This is a subject I know nothing about.
I mean, there's a lot of issues, but I mean,
We really don't know. Listen, I go to Nancy calls. She goes, there's 6 inches of water in someone's basement. There's some pump and it's pulling out of their toilet. I was like, all right, get these people on it first, and then we'll deal with it.
Right.
So it's you guys, you and Otto, who was our cleanup guy at the moment, and we're trying to kind of figure out how to balance that. To be honest, we actually started talking in the late spring or even early summer.
Yeah.
So we haven't even gone through a winter together yet, which is when all our disasters happen.
Okay.
I mean, so we have. That's when I have
Frozen
Otto
pipes.
run. Yeah, absolutely. Otto running around like crazy and stuff like that. And then really, when it comes down to like the rain, it's not our problem because it's coming in from outside. So I say, go ahead and clean it up. But we haven't had too much of that.
Yeah.
But like I said, we have not been through a winter together yet.
Yeah.
So
But the sump pump thing can come into play too.
some pumps, absolutely, or like when everything thaws, we get But
Yeah. We get a lot of frozen pipes in the spring too, believe it or not, because what happens is people haven't used their outdoor bib.
yeah,
They've shut it off.
they shut it off and
when
don't winterize it properly.
Yeah, they don't winterize it properly, and then when they first go to use it, it's cracked on the
Yeah.
inside, and sometimes people don't even know where the water's coming from.
Exactly.
And it's actually a frozen pipe
Yeah.
in April.
Let's
or
talk.
May.
Let's talk about hose bibs. Let me lay it down. Max, tell us how you properly winterize a hose bib. It's very simple, people.
You shut it off on the inside and you leave it open on the outside.
So everything dribbles out over
so
the winter.
everything is, you don't have water sitting compressed in the pipe.
And we get service calls for us to come over and do that.
Yeah.
And Nancy's like, listen, honestly, it's very easy.
I've seen like a cover thing that people can put on it too.
It's useless.
Yeah.
If you insulate a pipe and you stick it outside, it's still going to get the same temperature as the
Those
outside.
frost-free hose bibs too are
Garbage.
nonsense. It's
Frost-free, pressure relief. Don't even put them in your house because you have to replace them every year.
The good hose bib with the metal ball that closes and opens it. That's
Yep.
it. You leave that open in the winter and close on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But that's a lot of insurance claims for us. And that's when I get
Mm-hmm.
you to adjust the claim.
Yeah.
We need cleanup guys over there. So it's like, you ever seen the movie The Fifth Element? Do you remember that movie with Bruce Willis?
I think I have seen it.
So the villain,
I'm a big movie buff too. So
the villain. So he, it's like Zorg Industries. It's typical comic book, story, but the Zorg Industries is the evil corporation, and the leader of Zorg is like trying to justify why he does this horrible business.
Yeah.
And he flicks this glass off the desk, and it breaks everywhere, and all these little robots come out, and he's like, "Oh, look at that! Chaos happens, and all these people run in, and they fix it, and they have something to do now." Right. And every time someone calls the business that says, "I got water pouring into my basement," and I feel like just Zorg Industries just dispatching people.
Flicking the glass.
Yeah, I think I've seen that movie. It's in like outer space or something, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good flick.
That came out, I saw it in the movie theaters in 97.
He always says, You want to know his age? He always says a movie that like I say, I saw a really good movie the other day. It's it's an older movie. He goes, I saw that in theaters.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
You're the baby.
Yeah, he's 13.
I'm like almost twice your age. Dude.
He's 13 years younger than
That's
me.
scary.
So every time,
Very scary.
I was in. Every time Beetlejuice or something comes on, it was the first movie I ever saw in theaters that my dad took me to
wow.
in like 1988. And every time I look at him, I saw this movie in theaters.
Yeah.
And then he looks back and he goes, "What do you think you're cool?"
Winona Ryder.
Yeah. They're coming out with a second one. Beetlejuice 2.
Yes. Yeah. You know what's funny is my kids got all into the Broadway show. I have an 11 and 13-year-old girl.
There's a Broadway show?
Well, now it's gone.
Oh.
So it closed up shop. But my kids, they absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And so they went to see it again. And then they went to see another showing down in Philadelphia because it was like on the road or something like that. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Listen, I love that movie. I love that movie.
And they know Winona Ryder from the Netflix
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Which is also another great show.
Yeah.
Which I'm waiting for the next season to come out. But they wait like 4.5 years before each season.
And Cobra Kai, too.
And Cobra Kai, exactly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, the Beetlejuice house, after Beetlejuice was done wreaking havoc, how much do you think the people got insurance payout for? What do you think the claims adjusting looked over at?
I don't know. They have to be in the house for a certain amount of time before they can file a claim.
No, let me ask you this. What excuses would the insurance company make for that situation and not pay it out?
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened with that house.
You know what? I'll tell you exactly what the insurance company would say. Your daughter Lydia went up into the attic and summoned these demons, so it's her fault and you're responsible.
Well, I don't know if demons are a covered peril.
Acts of God.
That's another myth, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean,
what's the deal with that?
Lightning is an act of God, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hurricane is an act of God. That's your wind peril. I'm like, I don't know where people get this stuff that you're not covered for.
Insurance say
act of God?
Do they say that? So I hear this big thing with trees.
Yeah.
When a tree falls on your house.
Right.
That insurance companies always use the act of. Is that true? Or is something?
It's a wind-created loss. It's under the wind peril. But the interesting part of that is if your neighbor's tree falls on your house, your homeowner policy kicks in.
So okay,
and covers it, not theirs.
So is the problem mostly that what you see is that instead of calling you, the homeowner will call the insurance company, and the insurance company, like you said, will deflect, and the homeowner will just be like, "Oh, I guess I'm not covered with that."
They'll start asking questions, and again, this is related to your industry and water-related losses. Yes, they'll start probing. Well, how long has this been going on for? Well, I noticed it, a few months ago, and then it happened again. Well, now it's an ongoing issue, right? And you're doomed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tell people plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
Literally.
Basically, when you talk to a police
I don't
officer,
know. All of
say
a sudden,
a damn
this
thing.
happened.
Plead
right?
the fifth.
Yeah. But
Let somebody go to bat for
here's
you.
the other problem that I know with insurance, and taking it to like a serious topic, is that people are afraid to use their insurance because they know
the premiums.
Their premiums. They're
the premiums going up.
Everything exactly. Everything goes up. My father's in the auto industry, and every time like something happens, he doesn't want to go through insurance because he doesn't want his premium to go up, and he'll just like, it might be cheaper for me to even just deal with it myself. It's like, but you're required to have insurance. But if somebody knows you, then that might help, right? It'll help them out.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're bringing this up, too, because property insurance and auto insurance are really different. So, auto insurance, you have an accident or whatever, you have a speeding ticket, you're going to get hit. But with property insurance, it's more akin to health insurance. Like you use it, it's really not supposed to go up. And it's more myth than fact that you're going to have a premium increase if you have a loss. Again, it depends. So, state of New Jersey actually has laws or regulations about this. You can't be singled out for an increase. So if you have a broken pipe, the insurance company is not supposed to raise your rates. They're prohibited.
But do they?
Okay.
Do they?
Oh,
sneak
yeah.
it in somewhere?
I have a fellow adjuster, and before he got in this business like I did, that happened to him. His carrier increased his rates. He found out that they weren't allowed to do it. He wrote the State Department of Insurance and Banking. All the money that he was paying additional, they had to send it back to him.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that something that you'll pick out? You'll say, listen, your insurance company is scamming you here. and you'll be able to
Well,
pick
look,
that
this
out.
is part of the education part, right?
Yeah.
That I try to do is like we're doing right now. Try to tell people that they shouldn't be concerned about being singled out. Now, you may have a claims-free discount on the policy, and that's a roundabout way that the carriers can hit you.
Yeah.
So maybe you're saving $200 a year on your premium. You may lose that for 3 years. But what's $200 a year if you've got a $10,000 or $20,000 loss? I mean,
I don't know, $200 is a lot of money.
you know, but sometimes I'll tell people you don't want to file a claim because you don't want to lose that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, if you've got a loss that's only a couple $1,000s or maybe a little bit over your deductible, it's not worth it.
How long have you been in this industry?
It has been over 3 years. I mean, I passed my test and got my license like 3 years ago, and then it
Okay.
took them like 4 months to send the damn thing to me.
What were you doing before
And
this?
before that, I was, I was studying because that was a COVID year.
Oh,
So I was
yeah.
getting ready to take the test in
I
like
gotcha.
April of 2020, and all the testing centers shut down.
Yeah,
I couldn't take the test until September. You know.
that's right.
So, but yeah, no, I was in different industries before this. So
Those old COVID
business
years.
world, nonprofit world.
Yeah.
So marketing research for a long time.
I
So,
built swimming pools before plumbing.
There you go.
In-ground swimming pools.
Now, where do you think your in the ground swimming pool is covered under your policy?
Like nowhere. They probably don't cover anything with a swimming pool because so many things could go wrong.
It's covered,
It is?
but is it under the dwelling coverage, the other structures, or personal
I don't
property?
even know
or-
these words you're saying to me right now.
That's why I'm quiet, because I'm watching. If you could see me, I'm just watching him, and I'm just like, oh my god,
He's mesmerized.
There's so much
There's
stuff.
so much.
There's so much stuff to know and so much stuff to learn, and I'm just
and
like,
language.
and
The
exactly.
language that we're not familiar with. Like,
Yeah.
It's you know
we're
when you
retards. We're retarded plumbers.
It's when you sit down with somebody who knows a lot more than you, who's smarter than you, and you're just like,
Well,
I can't say anything because if I say something, I'm going to sound dumb. So I'm trying not to ask dumb questions either.
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like,
Try to make insurance fun.
Yeah.
no, but it's right. People
Insurance
do.
can be fun.
People need to know this, and like I said,
Yeah.
I do keep going back to this because this is the field that I know. I know the plumbing field, obviously, but I know the auto industry. But I know that like, are people not insured, or not insured at all? I know you said that they're underinsured, but like in the auto industry, my father has dealt with a lot of situations where people don't have insurance, don't have car. You
They
don't
just don't
understand
have it.
how many people
Yeah.
don't have car insurance on the roads in New Jersey.
That's scary.
you know.
Because that's meant to protect other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost more than yourself, right?
Well, with
Yeah.
with homes, like how
Do you see
are
that
there a
with
lot
homes?
of people who don't have homeowners
They're just like,
insurance
eh.
No, most people have policies.
in this state?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you have a mortgage, you have to.
Okay,
I've I've heard people who have their houses paid off who either don't have it or they're considering not having
Yeah.
it. I mean, as bad as the industry can be, I think it's crazy to not have it. I
Of
mean,
course.
listen, if you're a multi-millionaire and you could afford to rebuild, if God forbid something happens, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of us are not in that
Exactly.
boat.
And more so the vast majority as we go day by day right now. But
So-
I've heard the biggest mistake before prior to this show that the biggest mistake that people make is they're underinsured when they buy a policy. They buy a policy
Yeah.
based on cost, not by policy. Would you agree that that's the biggest mistake
Oh,
people
yeah.
make? Yeah.
No question. Price is completely secondary to having good coverage.
That has to be when you're shopping? Is that you really have to look at it that way?
I mean, ideally, you're getting the best of both worlds. I always tell people to get an independent broker to shop, avoid the captive agents, avoid
Yeah.
the big name companies you see advertising it on TV every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Those companies often sell what we call modified form policies. They're not a standard HO3 policy, and HO3 is what most people have.
Okay.
HO1 is like a basic policy, like a fire policy. HO2 adds in other named perils.
Mhm.
So what are named perils? Fire, smoke, lightning, accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system or an appliance, toilet overflow. What else am I not thinking of? Wind,
Okay.
wind losses. So that includes hurricanes, tornadoes.
Mhm.
So I'm missing some. Oh, it's hard to remember all of them.
Of
But when you have
course.
an HO3 policy, you're covered for the 16 named perils and sudden or accidental damage that can occur in the home.
Okay.
You know, you're barbecuing outside and your grill melts the siding. You're covered for that.
Even though it's your fault, huh?
Even if you're covered for your own stupidity.
Okay, that's a
Nice.
good rule of thumb. That's actually a good tagline for a new insurance
I'm
company
grilling
to
close
come.
to
Right.
the house next time.
Yeah, your kid has a bucket of water in the upstairs and dumps it all over the place and ends up downstairs. That's a covered loss.
Oh wow.
You know, if you accidentally scratch up your hardwood floors, you know, moving furniture around, you're actually covered for things like that.
Oh, listen,
Really?
people are nervous. I understand why people are nervous. They think like even if you call the insurance company,
Yeah,
that like you're gonna get docked because it's like I don't know. Most people, you're right. Most people do not understand this industry at all, and it's
no,
people go into the court system, and the legal system is so filled with stuff that the average person doesn't know. But they bring a lawyer with them
right.
to decode all that. But people try to tackle their insurance issues and damage issues solo,
Yeah.
and they get totally screwed.
The best way I've had it put to me is it's like a little leaguer going up against the New York Yankees. I
Yeah.
mean, you're outmanned. You're at a complete disadvantage going on about
Yeah.
it on your own. They have their adjusters. They have engineers. They have lawyers if need be. They will squash you.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like being in a court of law almost. I mean, you're preparing for that.
You need someone to decode all
eventually.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Listen,
I just want to ask because you said most people have HO3s.
Yes.
Most people have HO3s. That's middle of the road type policy.
No, that's generally what most people have. Again, HO3 is considered an all risk or open perils policy.
and that's
So-
a good policy to have. You're saying
Yeah.
they're in a
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
good boat with that.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
also said don't go with try not to go with those bigger brand
Yeah.
names because
Yeah.
I would think to go with the bigger brand names. No.
No.
How do you think they're using your money to pay for those commercials?
Yeah. Well,
You know,
And their sponsors.
And-
that they're-
yeah, exactly.
I guess, but like I have Geico,
Big name
and I've had
celebrities.
I've never had a problem with it, and I've had to use them, and you know,
See,
Yeah.
I hear a lot of gripes about. Well, Mike said
Yeah.
auto and home is totally different, but I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of gripes about Geico.
probably
I mean, I don't know.
it's different for everybody, obviously,
Yeah.
but it's like
They're all capable of
getting
you know of not paying out properly. on
They're
the
all
back
there
end.
to make money. It's not a secret.
But the weird thing is, I mean, they're selling policies that cover all those things that I was just talking about,
Mhm.
which most people, you know, if you're moving your furniture around, you scratch up your hardwood floors, you're not going to bother. I mean,
Right.
listen, I had my kid knock the stool over in my kitchen, and it poked a hole in my tile floor. That's a
Okay.
covered loss. But am I going to do it? I mean, I could
Right.
I could get an entire new floor for that.
Well,
but-
plus your deductible. I mean, how
So
much is gonna,
you know, the thing is that they're selling these policies that cover that stuff, so they should live up to it,
yeah.
right? I mean, they really should be living up to
Yeah.
it. But
Did you
I mean,
use
it's
it?
natural for no.
No, oh, okay.
So it's
What'd you
natural.
say?
I said,
Did
asked
I
him
make
if-
the did I
was
make
gonna
the
ask him
claim?
If you use
Oh.
it, I don't know if like, I want to know if he thinks it's worth it or not.
I mean, it's natural for people to say, "I'm going to use it for something big."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I get that.
And if
That
you don't
makes
do it
sense.
right, you're not getting that payout on something big properly if they don't bring
Yeah.
a guy like you in.
So,
Anyway, let's take a quick break. Let's reset, have some water, smoke them if you got them, and then we'll be back in a little bit. We're here with Mike Proto again from Metro Public Adjustment. Mike, thanks for being here. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
no, I appreciate you guys having me.
And we'll be back shortly.
catch me on a Saturday. It's all
Catch me outside.
Cash me outside. How
My
about
concern meter is up in terms
Yeah.
of doing that.
Well, you
I
got
hear you.
kids and everything like that too. So
Listen, not only our industry's desperate to make money, but so are townships.
Uber's
so
cheaper than a DUI. That's what everybody always says. It's cheaper than a DUI.
Right,
I got friends that can't drive now.
At your age, they had lost their license.
Well, he's 31, 30, and he hasn't had his license for years now.
Wow, what a loser.
Yeah.
Do I know this?
Do we want to
person?
talk about? Yeah, you do. And do you want to talk about your loser friends? Because we can rattle them off like.
Let's talk about them. Just don't say their names.
That's fine.
I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
We'll create an alien.
Yeah, exactly. An alter ego.
Yeah.
Let's just make an alias off
Stupid.
their physical
Stupid.
features.
I like that one.
All right, we're back, people.
Have we been recording?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No.
I kind of like to do that. I like to fade in with like the low part of the music.
He does that to me. There's times where he'll record while I'm like BSing with the guest, and he
Yeah.
catches me in nonsense.
That's why I'm trying to sharpen up your game.
No, it's very dull.
Your game is dull.
Yeah.
I expect PointsBet to be a sponsor before long.
Points bet?
PointsBet, yeah.
What's that?
Gambling.
Big,
Oh.
yeah.
Let's work on that. You know what we were
brought to you by PointsBet.
Oh my gosh, that's got to be a really good sponsorship.
What are the odds that we're going to flood this house today?
Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do it. I did not gasp like that. Shut up.
Oh my
Maybe we
God.
can do that though on the website, like the over/under for success
Over
in the
under
field.
for damage for success.
I mean, the house always wins. How does that happen? You get that anyway.
We can get him involved. He's got insurance, and
We want to get in on this, Mike. Figuring out
I don't know.
how to
there's
profit off
something
people's,
here. It's weird, but there's something here.
I mean, I always got the wheels turning to figure out how to bring as mundane as the plumbing industry is. Always thinking about let's look at this podcast. Like,
Yeah, it's
Let's
nonsense.
look-
I mean,
it
there's
is
no
not-
reason. There's absolutely no reason why we should even
there
be
is no
here
reason,
right now.
but
Okay.
but you know what? I'm gonna keep doing it. Damn it! Why
Remember how
not?
the other day we were talking to somebody else who started a podcast, and they asked, "How many listeners do you have?" And I'm like, 12. That's not realistic, but I was just like, "Who's got anything? Who's got
Yeah.
anything?" It's mostly our friends and family and people that we know.
and probably a few people from India or Pakistan or something like that.
Yeah, we saw
It's
Europe.
actually funny that you say that. We have two. I have two little blips that plop up from like Thailand, like Asia.
Of course.
But I mean, okay, let's break down the numbers there. So I don't know how long people are listening. I guess the average would be like if I had I don't have the analytics in front of me, but it's usually like 10 to 15 minutes that people will listen to the bulk, and then it just fades off like that.
Yeah, my dad went 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and he goes, "Who wants to listen to you for so long? What is this?"
And that's what he stopped after
That's
that.
what he 7 minutes in. You know what he said? He said Phil has a really nice voice. Okay, he's got a voice for radio. That's what he said. And then he goes, after 7 minutes, it's an hour. It's about an hour podcast sometimes, and he just goes, "Who wants to listen to you for so long?"
Yeah, but you know what
do
he'll
have
do?
to say?
He'll binge watch Game of Thrones. It's like so
He doesn't watch
HBO
Game
can
of
have an
Thrones.
hour and a half show, but we
Listen
can't.
before he goes to bed.
He doesn't go to bed. That's the problem.
I got beef with your father that I
Everyone
would
has
like.
beef with my father.
I would actually like to air out on this show.
Oh no. Oh no.
You know, before we go off on too much of a tangent, we talked about during the break what we want to bring up: necessary coverages, necessary
Yeah.
insurance coverages. And what I mean by that is what people should be looking for when they're shopping for a policy
Right.
when they first buy a house.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Necessary coverages. What are they?
Well, again, we did kind of touch on this to some extent before. So normally you're going to get an HO3 policy for a house, and that's considered an all-risk open perils policy, covers 16 named perils and sudden or accidental damage. But to focus on water-related losses, things that you guys would probably be involved in, again, you're going to be covered for accidental discharge of water. So that means if a pipe breaks, there's a frozen pipe situation, or a dishwasher breaks and water is everywhere, It could be an overflow of a toilet and things like that. The other key part is just having that endorsement for backup of sewer and drains, so you're covered for a problem with the municipal water system that backs up into your home.
What if you have a backflow? What if you have a backflow preventer on your sewer line, which we've put in a couple?
Then it won't flood.
Right, but does that bring down your policy? Can you claim that and say, listen, I have a backflow preventer on my house?
I don't know that it would bring anything down because it's, again, the policy that you're initially purchasing, you're not covered for that sewer backup.
Okay.
You need to buy the endorsement. You need to tack that endorsement on. And the one key thing that I tell people, because a lot of times I see only $5,000 in coverage. I mean, that's like a policy within a policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is $5,000 good for? You're lucky if that covers the restoration cost to clean up the dry out.
Not even the material.
So if you have a nice basement, a lot of personal property down there, I suggest at least 10, maybe more. I did a claim for somebody after remnants of Ida hit. She lived in Teaneck or Tenafly.
Yeah.
And she had $25,000 on the policy. And her mom lived in the downstairs, and there was like a kitchen and cabinets and everything down there.
Yeah.
But, people need to realize, even if you have that endorsement, you don't want it just at $5,000 because you're not going to have money to do anything but the cleanup.
Right.
Yeah.
You're screwed with a clean basement, and then you can't go any further than that.
And it probably won't cost you a lot of money to increase the coverage.
Do you encourage people to get certain things on their house, to help prevent damages? Like, I know that we're putting in a lot of those automatic water feed shutoffs that are helping people with
mow
insurance,
and flow.
like
leak detectors and
leak
things.
detectors,
leak detectors and stuff like that.
It never hurts to do that, right? Because you don't really want the loss or the claim. So if you can put something in that alerts you that there's a problem, by all means.
I have had customers in Englewood, two customers in Englewood said their insurance company was requiring it.
Really?
Maybe not requiring it, but they would say that they would get
Another
some
lie
kind
by
of
the big
break
insurance companies.
if they put it on their house.
Okay.
And that's why I asked about the backflow preventers. Like, maybe all these little steps will kind of help you in the long run with your policy, but you're saying it's just pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the backup of sewer and drains endorsement, it's probably not going to cost you a lot of money, and it probably won't cost you a lot more to go from $5,000 to $25,000.
We have. Were you going to say something?
I was going to ask how we make insurance cool for the young generation. How do we get younger people into insurance? We're struggling for workers. Are you struggling for workers?
Hey, man, I'm always looking to hire, so they can...
Always looking to train?
The cool thing about what I do, you can do it as a side gig. You can do it part-time.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it a full-time thing if you want to. And all you really need to do is pass the test in here
What's
in New
the
Jersey.
test like?
It's really not that hard. I passed it the first time. I think you need only 70% to pass.
You need a certain type of... Do you have to have like a salesman? Do you have to have like a salesman personality or an outgoing personality to deal with this? To deal with this kind of industry?
I mean, you can tell that I'm not personable
Sell
at
me
all.
this
No,
pen.
just kidding.
What'd you say?
I said, sell me this pen. You ever see Wolf of Wall
Yeah.
Street?
I mean, I wish I had known about this industry when I was younger because I would have done it as at least a side gig or something. It's just it's a cool business. It really is. There's nothing like it.
Right.
You get to help people.
Yeah.
And
You have to be well-versed, though, no? You have to be very well-versed in the language.
Well, the funny thing is, you're sitting here and you were saying, like, oh, my God, all this information. I've learned all this stuff in the last 3 years.
You got stuck during COVID trying to test into this industry.
Yeah.
So that kind of put you back.
A little bit, yeah.
So my uncle has kids in school. I got little cousins in school at the high school, and they have the job fairs and stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, we're trying to think about next year setting up a table with make plumbing cool again.
Yeah.
The make plumbing cool again table. I mean, you want me to get a table for you? You sit right next to us and get guys.
You know what's interesting, and it just came to me. We were talking about all this stuff with young people. We actually have like a scholarship program that we do for college age kids. So
do you really?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So it's something that they could do.
There's no need to go
summer.
There's no need to go to college for this, though, right?
No. What's really interesting about this business is there's people from all different walks of life.
Okay.
I mean, it's really different.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a master's degree, and I'm
Uh-huh.
doing this. There,
Okay.
there are people that different levels of education, all different walks of life.
I gotcha.
It really is interesting.
I mean, a big focus on us is the statistics coming out for the trades, not even specifically plumbing, but the trades is that, and this is why we focus on trying to get kids coming out of high school and vocational schools
Yeah.
into plumbing, that for every 7 to 10 older guys, licensed plumber that dies or retires, only one person is replacing them.
Wow.
And that's huge. I mean, that is a scary stat, especially for a place like ours that is building and building and building and packing more people into here.
Yeah.
And plumbers and carpenters and electricians just
It's
aren't
getting
coming
so
out.
bad. Do you remember the video that I showed? It encompasses everybody, because the video that I showed you, how the house was
In Utah?
it was,
The Utah
it was
house?
like 3 years old, and it just the homeowners started to recognize that the house was creaking and bowing, and
Right.
like it looked like it was falling apart. There was no earthquakes or anything going on.
Yeah.
They step outside, they start recording. The house eventually just tips over and collapses the entire house.
Wow.
It's like a 3-year-old house.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's...
Like these builders are getting worse and worse.
It's
Yeah.
not as bad as for us up here where entire houses are collapsing, but within 2 to 3 years, we are in these McMansions fixing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
These
Exactly.
big, expensive McMansions.
Wow.
we're in houses very new that are failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of it is from shoddy installation. Most of our leaks are from PEX rings that haven't been crimped properly.
Right.
You know, guys are just plowing through it.
And then you get into insurance questions too, because a lot of times insurance companies will say, "Oh, faulty workmanship."
Yeah.
Well, this is where it's one of the cool things about my license is we can reopen and double check claims.
Is there a time limit on that?
We normally want to do it within 12 months of the date of the loss, just because we're concerned
Within a
about.
year.
Well, we're concerned about losing the right to sue, because that's your big club. That's
Oh,
your
that's your,
that's your leverage.
Gotcha.
But there are times that we can go beyond that, and it depends on the state.
Okay. I gotcha.
You know what I mean? But that's one thing insurance companies will sometimes do. They'll say faulty workmanship. They'll say wear and tear, lack of maintenance. If you're being denied for these reasons, you need a settlement double check.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's not the homeowner's fault. That's the problem. It's like you bring somebody into your house, not necessarily, or trusting their work.
Yeah.
As a homeowner, you don't know those things. And you could say faulty workmanship all you want, but it's like, as a homeowner, you just say, I got like the middle of the road type guy.
Yeah.
I got 6 estimates. I went with the guy who was in the middle of the road, and you're calling faulty workmanship when and he burst a pipe in my house.
Right.
We also have a big issue with a lot of claims that we've dealt with when we go with water damage and stuff is someone will have, I can't remember what it was. A lot of sewer lines aren't covered because
Yeah.
it's been an ignored issue. So the insurance company will say, listen, you've been ignoring this for too long.
You're talking
And they won't
about
cover-
like the infrastructure, like under your lawn, that
Or-
kind of thing.
Not even like a sewer line inside a basement that's going up through a wall, and there's been
Yeah.
a leak that they've been avoiding and like kind of catching in a cup for
Okay.
like 6 to 8 months, and then all of a sudden it just cracks, and they have a sewer flood where they won't cover it. What?
Yeah, but you
Well-
can't see a lot of these times. You're saying that somebody's catching this water behind in a cup.
Maybe
or
that's-
something, but
well, maybe
let's say
that's
there's
a-
a split behind the wall and a sewer line that's behind the wall.
Well, that
Right.
they will cover. I'm
Listen.
probably using the wrong example. Go ahead.
If you're sitting there with a cup or a pail catching water, that's an ongoing issue. You're not dealing with a sudden
Yeah.
or accidental event. I mean, you're
ab-
basically admitting at that point.
What about a basement flood and you don't have a sump pump?
So I don't know if I said this before, but in our lexicon, we don't use the F word, flood.
Oh, what is it?
I probably did. So you're talking about like a broken pipe.
No. Let's say a storm comes through,
Yeah,
and you just get a basement flood because of the rain,
yeah.
but you don't have a sump pump. You have
That's surface water, and that's basically more like true flood.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's most insurance companies going to do when that happens?
You're not covered for
You're
it.
not covered. Yeah.
Act of God.
I mean, everything to do with weather is not. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So, But, people have to be cautious about other things in their policies, like their deductible. We're seeing more and more percentage deductibles. It'll be a percentage of the dwelling coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you have... This actually happened to me with somebody in Saddlebrook. You wanted to talk about a story.
Okay.
Lady had one claim already open, and then another one after the remnants of Ida damage to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and my sister-in-law live in Saddlebrook, and apparently the homeowner was posting to social media, I need help, I need a public adjuster. So I reached out to the homeowner, and she was telling me everything that they were dealing with, and I'm thinking, no problem, we should be able to help. Send me your policy, let me take a look at it. I open it up, and they've got a 1% deductible with over $700,000 in coverage on the dwelling.
Gosh.
So do the math. $7,000 deductible. So
know,
the first claim was a reopen. We were looking to help with and maybe get more money in their pocket. And my adjuster went out and said, no, that's basically like a $7,500 loss. They were paid out like $500 for the loss.
Really?
Then the other damage to the roof, we also assessed at probably around the same amount of money. And we're like, we can't help you. So I don't know how they got the deductible, whether I don't know if they actually accepted it when they first did the policy, or they got a renewal and the insurance company changed it.
Yeah.
But this is why the policy reviews I do are so important. There could be separate wind and hail deductibles. I mean, I've seen some bad ones for that.
Yeah.
Allstate is infamous for roof scheduling provisions, which means that you're going to be paid depreciated value over time for the roof.
Oh, okay.
So it may kick in at like 16 years. I've seen other policies kick in even after the first year, where the first year is 100%, then all of a sudden it's 95%, it's 90%. So Allstate, most often I've seen them kick in at like 16 years.
Yeah.
So just imagine you've got a 20-year-old roof, storm blows through, you need a new roof, but you have a wind hail deductible of like $10,000, and now your roof, you're only going to get like 25 cents on the dollar for the cost of the roof.
Okay.
And let's say it's a $20,000 roof. Guess how much money you're getting?
Not enough
Nothing.
to do the roof.
You're getting nothing. So these are the things that I call it the double whammy.
It's these little nuances.
They're big
And they're brutal. Yeah.
They're big. They're more than little nuances. This is big time stuff where you can really get screwed.
Especially a first-time homeowner. I mean, who doesn't know anything, who hasn't experienced anything. A first-time homeowner's coming in trying to like put all this stuff together, and they get blasted with some random disaster 2 years in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the problem. Most people get their homeowners insurance. I did it. I got it. I put it in a drawer, thinking I'm good if something happens.
Yeah,
but it just doesn't work that way.
No, exactly.
It really doesn't.
I mean, I'm not a homeowner. I'll tell you that right now. And I know that when that time comes, you're going to have to...
You're getting an HO1.
I'm getting an HO0. I just need something. It's like liability on a car. The minimum just to drive my little 25-year-old Corolla around. Yeah. My stupid little one-bedroom down in East Orange. But... this stuff is important, and especially to first-time homeowners, because a lot of these people, there's a lot of young money coming up. There's a lot of people making a lot of money right now. They're buying houses. A lot of people are moving out of the city that have rented since they got married, and they're
moved
buying
out
houses
after COVID, right? A lot of people coming here.
What?
I don't care what happens to them.
You should. We're supposed to be in their houses,
exactly,
making everything good.
I'm gonna pay my bill. I don't care what happens with insurance with them.
Well, remember,
this is for me. This is all for me. I'm going to relay this to my family, to my friends. This is not for you people.
This is one of those industries, like I said, with you go to court, you need a lawyer, you deal with insurance, you need professionals to do that with,
Yep. Yes, you do.
I don't know. What else are we talking about? What stupid crap are we talking about now going forward? What else can we even touch base with on insurance?
Pet insurance.
Who's your favorite company to deal with?
Pet insurance. Well, how do I insure something like that? That ugly thing that's sitting on the floor next
what's
to my
the
feet?
deductible for something?
What if something happens to him? Do I get money?
Well,
or do I-
you need pet insurance too, don't you?
Do you know anything about the time when J-Lo insured her behind? Remember that, like 20 years ago? When she pulled out like $7 billion.
How does a claims
Oh my
adjuster
God.
deal with that? Like, let's say something pops.
Well,
You gotta go to her house and check it out and take pictures and.
Well, what was the dog, the puppet thing that they had?
Riot the Insult comic. Dog?
Yeah.
What about
oh my
him?
God. There was a time when J-Lo was at one of the award shows, and they brought the puppet in, and he was talking
I
about
thought you were
her
talking
butt.
about the South Park puppet.
Yeah.
Where did he start? He started on Conan, right? Didn't he have this stupid bit on Conan and then ended up like
Maybe
being a sensation?
Yeah.
Riot the Insult. Holy cow!
That was hysterical. There
You
was
know,
some
I'm
hysterical
gonna
stuff.
look up clips before I go to bed and just
Do
sit there
you-
and scroll through.
Yeah.
I do have a question to you, because I found out recently about life insurance. Do you deal with life insurance at all?
No.
Okay, because I found out that you can take policies out on people that you're not even related
You
to.
can't though.
You can.
It was Triumph, the insult comic.
Triumph.
I'm saying Riot didn't sound right. Anyway, Triumph.
All right, we cleared that up. Continue.
No, but I found out that you can take out life insurance policies on friends, family, and obviously if something happens, you get paid out. So me and my friends
Yeah.
are thinking about starting a death pool.
Oh, okay.
To see.
I thought we were going right into an ID channel episode here or something.
No, you have to be careful. So I actually, when you mentioned that to me,
I wanted to take a life. When I found that out, I immediately came to work the next day and I was like, "So can I take a life insurance policy out on you?" And
I was at first I
Yeah.
was offended. At first, I was like,
Yeah.
"What are you banking on me dying?" And then,
No, but-
as I'm smoking a
Do you
cigarette,
watch the ID channel?
no,
what is the
What is
ID
that?
channel? Was it like Crime TV?
Yeah,
Oh.
they have all the stories about how people
Dude,
were killed and stuff like that.
there's a whole. When it comes to life insurance, you have term life insurance. You have all this other
Yeah.
type of.
Yeah.
And term life insurance, there's only a certain type of policy that you can do that.
I'm not saying that I'd
Yeah.
kill you, but I'm saying that if it happened,
Listen,
I
if
would
you
like
pay the
to
premium,
profit.
you can take it a policy out on me. I don't care.
You
I
need
have
to
no
look up
kids.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Rand, what's that?
He's like a big financial guru.
I've heard of his name.
Yeah.
Is he the bald guy on YouTube?
Yeah, he's the bald guy.
the bald guy.
Just
on
to
YouTube?
narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, the bald guy on YouTube. He's
with
like,
glasses,
he's,
old guy.
Yeah, he's like Mega Millions. He's worth Mega Millions.
Yeah,
he's always giving people.
He does a
advice.
radio show too.
Yeah.
He pops up in my reels sometimes. He's a
Yeah.
smart guy.
Yeah.
What did that
The
lady
second you
say?
type in "I want to make money,"
Is
Dave
that,
Ramsey comes up.
is
Right.
that the guy you showed me where a woman they had over $1 million in
Yeah,
student
it was
loan debt?
it was a couple that went to like dental school and they ended up, both of them accumulated like about $1 million worth of debt
dollars.
Wow.
between
Ins-
student loans and credit cards and everything like that. And he
Yikes.
just goes, "How are you? You need to file for bankruptcy.
If
Like
that's
it's
not,
over.
yeah.
Wow.
If that's not snapping people out of,
There's no helping you."
this is why we try to push. Stop going to college. Just stop going to college. You can get a great career without college nowadays.
Do you feel that way though? Because you said you have your master's degree. Do you
Yeah.
feel that way that it's not that it's a waste of time? Because I don't want to say that we're anti.
What'd you get your
school.
master's degree in?
Communications and Information Studies.
And how-
Rutgers.
I mean, I'm not going to knock your college. I went to college. I didn't complete it.
Yeah.
I'm not here to knock people's college experiences.
Sure.
But when you get down to the soup and nuts of it, is that the right phrase? Wait,
Nuts and bolts.
nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Soup and nuts.
Where does soup come from?
Oh my god!
Anyway,
Dipping nuts in
when
soup.
you get down to it, your degree, did it really help you? I mean, can anyone without a degree get into doing what you're doing?
Well, yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
I said, a lot of people, different walks of life.
Like I said,
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't go to school. But I mean,
I am.
I think you need to weigh the costs and the benefits because I think it's gotten
nah,
crazy expensive.
nah, I'm boycott college all
It's
the way.
crazy expensive.
Unless you're going to be a
If-
doctor or a lawyer.
If you're going to go, you better know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing we talk about too. Kids come right out of high school at
Yeah.
17, 18 years old, and they shoot right after college.
Yep.
And while they're registering for college, they have to pick a major.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? Go to work for a little bit. Go get a job. See what you like. You know?
Yeah. No, I think the trades are much more viable option. I mean, listen, I grew up at a time when parents were convinced they needed to send their kids to college.
Yeah,
And
so
it's
did I.
and it's still like that despite the cost. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, it's a racket.
Mhm.
Higher education is a freaking racket.
Yeah.
But parents want to do right by their kids, and and I can understand it. They want to send their kids to college. Some of them want them to have the experience
because that's technically what you're supposed to do.
I'm gonna want my kids to fail,
but it doesn't guarantee you anything.
I'm gonna be honest.
My parents set me up for failure, and I've lived up to the expectation ever since.
Yeah.
I mean, working for my company, you're a failure.
No, they're saying that I'm a failure.
Working for my company?
Not necessarily working for your company, but
you know what? Get your dad on this podcast next week.
It's an insinuation.
Let's get him on here. I have so much beef to settle with that man.
We all do.
What was I going to say? I totally forgot. I had something so good to say. It was so funny.
You didn't have anything good
I
to
think
say.
it was making fun of your hair or something,
Yeah,
but it was
exactly.
such a great line.
It's just short-term memory loss. You know how you saw all those movies in theaters?
Yeah. I remember those, though. Oh, short
What kind
term.
of movies are you talking about?
No, he's making fun of me with pointing
His
out the
age.
movies I've seen in the movie
Saw
theater.
Star Wars in theaters?
No, that's way too.
I can't
that's
remember
way
the
too
last time I was in a theater.
Yeah, I can't do the movie theater. Not since COVID for
Yeah.
sure. And to be honest, I have yet to see a preview that actually makes me interested to go see a movie.
I pictured you going to see the Barbie movie.
I was just gonna say, well, we went down.
I almost went.
He's like,
Who doesn't want to see Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling? I think this is like the two best looking people in Hollywood.
I haven't seen the reviews on it, but I guarantee you it's horrible.
No. My wife took the kids. She said it was terrible.
Yeah, it just seems it seems like when something like that is really popular, when something so absurd is super popular, and the media is like Barbie, it seems like almost like brainwashing or just like subliminal messages in the whole thing. I just want to stay far away from it.
Yeah. It's not on my list.
Without getting too political.
Yeah, unless it gets nominated for an Academy Award.
Even
I'll be forced to watch
Even then, let's be honest, the Academy is garbage.
Yes.
The Academy is garbage.
Yeah.
All the money is thrown at television shows.
But,
All those
TV
people,
shows.
all they have,
Series.
they're just giving themselves awards. For what? I mean, where's your award for going that crawl space today?
My paycheck.
Did they have awards
You gave
for
me
plumbers?
you gave me a high five
I'm
when I
saying.
came out.
The Plumbing Academy.
You don't have to pretend that I am proud of you. It's okay. I mean, they're up there, like saying lines on a paper with a stupid accent, and then you hear
Oh wow, you
actors say,
pretended to be somebody else today.
yeah. You know what you hear actors say? Oh, it was just for 4 months we were just filming on this location. It was just crazy, and it was cold, and the wind, and I had to do this. It's like, you know what, lady? Who in their right mind wants to hear your ramblings about your hard life where you're making tens of millions
If
of
you
dollars?
pat somebody in the back long enough, and if you tell them that they're amazing for a long enough time,
And
they're
that
going to believe that.
There'll be a
That's
cultural influence.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to get too political, but it's just complete absurdity with Hollywood right now, and I can't even.
I think I saw somebody in social media, like when it was around the Major League Baseball trade deadline, saying how, you got to feel for some of these players. I mean, they have to now pack up and move. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
It's insanity.
These guys, it's like they hit the mega millions every year, and they can pack up and move pretty easily. They got the money. They need to do.
I went to a baseball game last weekend. I went to a Yankees game last weekend, and I don't like baseball, but my brother gets tickets, whatever. I went, and I cannot make the connection between the amount of money that they make versus what they do.
Yeah.
95% of this game, these people are standing around, and most people won't even touch the ball unless you're just throwing it around to each other as you're having a catch.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy to me that these guys are some of the highest paid people in the entire world.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
entertainment.
It's entertainment.
It wasn't even entertaining.
It's distraction.
You know who made it entertaining? The fans. Because you get drunk and you just go, you get excited about, the most mundane things. 9 times out of 10, the ball hitting the outfield is not a home run.
Yeah.
Okay? You know that the guy is catching it only if he misses the ball did something exciting happen.
It's America's pastime.
Listen, I think it's nice, but
You
To
know
get
what my
paid that
mom?
money is
You know what my
insane
mom goes out
what they do.
in Ohio. They play old timey baseball. They have these games where they dress up like Babe Ruth era,
Is
and they
like
have
segregated baseball.
Oh, jeez.
Is that what
no.
that
They
is?
they play like period baseball games. They'll dress up like Babe Ruth, the old timey,
Right.
and they'll have like reenact. You know, my brother does Civil War reenacting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically reenact old Civil War baseball games.
It's like the Field of Dreams. At the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
I went there.
It's
really
pretty cool.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and the same thing with war reenacting. All the guys there are like 85 years old. So they were those. That's their original
Yes.
uniform.
There's a huge problem with replacing these
Yeah.
Civil War guys.
Same
How do you
thing
get
with
the youth into
reenacting.
Civil War reenacting?
Yeah.
Same thing with reenacting. It's all old guys. Like it's a dying thing. Have you ever been to a reenactment? Like a civil?
No. No,
They
not
are
really.
so cool. Okay, it sounds dorky, and it sounds stupid, and it sounds boring. But if you go to Gettysburg on like a 5 or 10 year anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg,
Right.
you're talking 5,000 to 8,000 soldiers dressed,
Wow.
reenacting battles on these hills. And
That's
you're
crazy.
sitting there. You're sitting there in bleachers watching this whole thing. So I was there at the 150th anniversary of Gettysburg. So they did a reenactment of the Battle of Antietam, Little Round Top and Big Round Top.
Yeah.
They did the tours and everything. And when you see thousands of guys in period clothing on this field fighting, including cavalry and artillery, because they have horse battles. These guys will come up and have horse battles, and you're watching this. It's impressive. But the average age of these guys is like 45, 50.
Right.
You know, and it's a thing that we're going to like lose because people don't find it interesting anymore.
Well, it's funny because I've never been to Gettysburg. It's on my bucket list.
Are you serious?
I've never done it yet.
Listen, as an American,
How dare you?
I don't care what American persuasion you are, you have
Right.
to get to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm sad to admit I've never been to PNC Art Center either, so I feel like I'm not
What?
a true New Jersey.
Are you from New Jersey?
Yeah.
That's fine.
You were born and raised in
I'm
New
a
Jersey
Jer-
and you've never been to PNC?
Overrated anyway.
I am a Jersey boy,
Holy
Overrated.
cow.
There's nothing special about
but
PNC.
somehow I've never
But
seen a
it's-
show there.
It's our performing arts center. Whatever. Okay, so you want to know the story about PNC Bank Arts Center? So we used
Did
to
you
go.
Did you sneak in somewhere?
Oh, shut
Did
up. Why you gotta
every-
ruin my-
Everybody snuck in somewhere at PNC.
We
Oh,
used
I
to
jumped the
sneak-
fence.
Snuck in. We used to sneak in
It's a
all
sneaker snuck.
the time. Okay, so here's the thing about PNC, where the security offices are now.
Yeah.
Were the bathrooms, and you would walk behind the building to go to the bathroom, and they never changed the fence here. But the problem is you can't jump the fence here anymore because it's now security office, not bathrooms. And we did it for like 8 years. That's how I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stone
Yeah.
Temple Pilots, Slipknot.
Wow.
Who else did we see by jumping the fence? Like way back in the day, and then they switched to security office because they finally
Yeah.
caught on, I guess.
Right.
But if I don't know how do you grow up in New Jersey without seeing a show at PNC?
I can't explain it.
Every artist,
It is a mark of shame right now.
every time artist comes to New Jersey, they love playing for Jersey crowds
Yeah.
because we're the best crowd. We really are the best crowd at a live show.
Yep.
I've been to so many concerts where the guys are up on stage screaming that, "Yeah, we love coming to Jersey," and the crowd is going nuts.
It's the same thing everywhere. They
Yeah.
get it.
Okay,
from
probably.
they
They
get it
Probably,
everywhere.
but
All they need to do is shout the name of the city, and it's
yeah,
an
I guess you're right.
easy.
All
Hello,
right, fine.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Who even likes Wisconsin?
That's every
Whatever.
show.
New Jersey's awesome to play a show for. But
I-
what else we got? What else we want to talk about? Do you have a story? Do you have a story you want to share?
I don't know if I have a story.
All right.
I have been to see shows, of course, at Giant Stadium and all that.
Okay. Well, who'd you see at Giant Stadium?
I've seen AC/DC, Metallica. Well, AC/DC might have been the new MetLife at the time. I'm not sure.
Let's
By
see.
the way, I gotta say, after knocking down Giant Stadium, you think they could have built a nicer stadium than they built.
How long ago did they knock it down? See, this is how little I
10
care of
years,
football.
About 10 years ago, they had plans.
Oh yeah, okay.
They had
Yeah, I gotcha.
plans. I think their
Yeah.
intentions were to build like not like a city, but like a little community over there. I think they had plans to build casinos and walkable
Right.
city type area.
Oh, okay.
That's where you have now close to the
Sustainable.
American dream. But
Sustain-
none of that ever worked out because it's all swampland. It's all a dead.
But the stadium itself has no character. I think they just wanted
Yeah.
the luxury boxes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's all modern football is. It's
Right.
luxury and then put the schmucks
Yeah.
in the stands.
Listen, it's
What
an
other shows?
80,000 people stadium.
I used to see.
It used to be Brendan Byrne Arena.
What is that?
He's the former governor, the where the Nets used to play and the Devils used to
Oh,
play.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember.
You don't remember Brendan Byrne Arena?
Well, I'm pretending to remember him right now to make you feel comfortable.
I think I saw a page and plant there.
I used to go see Dave Matthews every year at Giant Stadium back in 96, 97, 98. Yeah. And I don't care what anyone says. I love Dave Matthews.
Don't look at me when
Not
you
a
say
big
that.
fan.
I love.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not a big fan.
Every musician in his
Trash.
band is amazing. The violinist is amazing. The drummer is amazing.
You know what his problem is? He thinks because he's a musician, and he's a good musician, I'll give it to him. He thinks because he's a musician that when he says something and he makes a claim like that, that it's now the word.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever he says, you don't know music, so you don't know.
Well, when you tell me something about soccer, I believe you.
It doesn't mean that I'm the end all be all for soccer.
But I at least give you that when you talk about
because you
soccer.
really know nothing about soccer.
A Red Bulls fan?
Huh?
Red Bulls?
No.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't watch sports. I just don't do it. Like I don't have the time or even like the interest. Even football. I used to play fantasy football when all my friends were together, but now they're all married with kids, and I couldn't give two craps about anything football.
Yeah.
And to me, it's such a distraction, and like it just I have no time for it.
I'm a fantasy baseball guy.
Are you fantasy baseball?
Yeah.
All right, at least
30 years.
At least
been doing
America's pastime. I'll give you that. But football at this point is just it's absurd.
There's not one single sport you can convince me that they're worth the money that they get paid.
Women's soccer.
Don't make me laugh.
You don't think they're worth the money?
WNBA.
WNBA.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, there you go. There's athletes that make what they deserve.
No.
No, still
Free
too
market,
much?
man. Free market.
Exactly. You know what was funny? This is all controversial right now. Like the women's team not making as much, and all these people who are on TV like complaining, like, oh, it's just so unfair that the women are getting paid less, yada yada. And then you ask them like, name 5 players.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my responsibility. Well, if you want them to make money, then go to the freaking games and like buy their merchandise. Whatever. This could go on a bad tangent. You know what? I think we've talked about plenty of stuff today, and we have a ton of material on this podcast. But Mike, thanks for coming in. Mike Proto. Let's go. Let's you know what? Let's go through this stuff again. Mike Proto from Metro Public Adjustment. Claims adjuster for the homeowner, claims adjuster for the people.
For the people.
Your website is, and I'll put this in the description, but property claim or property claims?
Claims, plural.
PropertyClaimsPro.com. Jump on his website. If you have anything that happens in your house, hit up Mike. He will come in and he will fight for you. He's a claims adjuster for the people. You should put that on your business card. You can give me and cut me in.
You need that like Better Call Saul type.
Yeah, maybe a
like
little tagline.
Better Call
I gotta work on that.
No.
I like that. You know what? I'm going to become a claims adjuster and take that tagline.
What?
Claims adjuster for the people.
But the people.
This is true. But all right, folks. Thanks for listening. Mike, again, thanks for being here. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And we'll talk to you next week.